I remember just being frantic, and we're waiting for the rescue squad to get there, and really just not knowing what to do. It was just so chaotic, which just so much emotion, and it's someone that you love, and it's hard. Like, what do you do? I had a great aunt who was suffering from cancer. And I remember I'm 14 years old, and she lived in a home that was close to her sister, so my other great aunt. And I remember visiting one of my aunt's homes. People were hanging out there at her house. And the aunt who was sick, my dad and I, we said, hey, let's go over there and see her and talk to her and see how she's doing. So we walked over, just a short walk, 2 houses down, to go speak with her. And we went there and we're talking with her, and she's laying in bed, and we actually had a conversation like normal people. And we said our goodbyes, and we left, and we went back over to the home we had been hanging out with some other family. And meanwhile, like I said, since I was 3 years old, I've always wanted to be a police officer. So about the age of 10 or so, I started carrying a police scanner. My dad bought me this old brick. It was a metal brick size Radio Shack brand police scanner, where I was able to listen to police calls and fire department calls and really get to learn about what calls they really respond to, how they talk on the radio, how they use 10 codes, and all those types of things. And so having the scanner, I always had it on me. At the other aunt's house, we're sitting there, and I hear a call dispatched for someone on the same road that we were on, and it was dispatched for a female with difficulty breathing. And I didn't really know her numerics. But I remember in that moment, being 14, and yelling to my dad that it was my aunt. And I remember my dad and I bolting out the door and running as fast as we could to her house. And we get in there. She's still laying in bed where we left her. But yet she was in a very different state. She was coughing up blood and barely breathing. And I didn't know what to do. You know, I was 14. I remember just being frantic, and we're waiting for the rescue squad to get there, and really just not knowing what to do. It was just so chaotic, which just so much emotion, and it's someone that you love, and it's hard. Like, what do you do? And so as I went through, you know, as things happened, the rescue squad ended up coming out and picking her up, and they started CPR, and she ended up dying that day. And I don't say this to say as a sad story, but I say this to say as the reality of life. Is the more that we train and get familiar and comfortable in the skills of saving other people, of saving lives, the more we'll be able to step up and have our training kick in. I've come to realize that many people want to do something to help other people, but they're too afraid. Many people have not even been trained to even have a base level of even knowing what they could possibly do. And this is what leads me to my next discussion here. Now, I don't know if this would have changed her circumstance with her having cancer and her illness that she really had going on at that point. But think with me, if you will, for someone who, maybe your family, someone who's not too ill, and they happen to collapse in your home, where most cardiac arrest emergencies actually happen, usually in the private home, where there's no heroes, there's no medical personnel there with equipment and just ready to help them. So the question I have for you is, when your loved one drops down because they've had a heart attack, they went into cardiac arrest, are you or someone else in your home able to help them? Have you been trained? Has someone in your house been trained on how to provide life-saving skills to help someone at their most important, most urgent moment in life? And the answer for you may be yes. And it might be because you serve in the hospital field as a nurse or a doctor, or maybe serve in an ambulance as an EMT or firefighter, maybe a police officer or someone else out in the world that's required to have a CPR certification for their job. But the true question is this: did you know that the chance of survival for a cardiac arrest issue decreases 7 to 10% each minute? So let's think about that for a minute. If someone in your home collapses from a cardiac arrest issue, chance of survival decreases 7 to 10% each minute. So let's think about it. If that person is down and no one is there helping them for 7 to 10 minutes, there may be no chance that they will survive their cardiac arrest emergency. Now, you may be that person saying, well, I'm trained, so I can help them. But what if that person is you? We go to work, we save lives, we help people. But what if that person is you who needs CPR? And you're the only one in your home that's trained. Now, think about this for a moment. How long does it take, on average, for an ambulance to make it, say, to your home? If you had a true emergency, you needed to call them because someone needed CPR. Now, say no one is trained in your home. You're the only one that's trained. But you, unfortunately, have collapsed with a cardiac arrest issue. And no one in your home knows CPR. How long would it take for an ambulance to make it to your house? Maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes, who knows? It really depends on a bunch of factors. Now, I've had some people in my classes, they'll stand up and they'll say, well, I live right next door to a fire station. They'll be there in 2 minutes. Oh, well, that's real nice. But have you ever thought of that fire station being out on another call and the next closest fire station having to respond to your house? It's important, ladies and gentlemen. Please listen to this. It is so important that we understand and know how to perform CPR, not just for ourselves, but for our family members as well. You do not have to be a certified instructor to familiarize your family with how to do CPR. There are some great things and ways in the world where you can learn CPR through classes, through online learning, through hands-on classes, blended learning. There's also an app called PulsePoint. You may have heard of it. PulsePoint is an app where when someone goes into a cardiac arrest and they call 911, or someone calls 911 someone calls 911. As soon as the dispatcher puts it in the computer as that type of emergency, hits that button, it sends an immediate alert to everyone in the area that has this app on their phone who may be trained in CPR, so they can respond to that home, to that store as a bystander to help. This is what saves lives. When someone falls out in cardiac arrest, for someone to quickly start performing high quality CPR, starting with chest compressions, is one of the most important things to save someone's life. And also using an AED or an automatic external defibrillator as soon as possible. Quick story about PulsePoint. So I'm driving one day, and this was actually about a month or so ago. I'm driving with my 2 kids, 5-year-old and 1-year-old. They're in the back seat. And I'm traveling through a neighboring city, coming home, on my way home from visiting my grandparents. And I'm driving, and all of a sudden my phone has this alert that I've never heard before. And I look at it, and it's PulsePoint. And it says there's an issue, CPR in progress at the Bed Bath & Beyond. It was so close to me, and I said, in my immediate brain of going out and wanting to serve and help kicked in. I was about to say whoop and turn on the light. I was in my personal car. I didn't have any lights to turn on. But in my mind, I had this quick shift of, where's this at? I got to get there and help. And then I remembered, I got my kids in the back. I can't run in and be the hero and leave them. So I wasn't able to respond. But this app is something that is saving lives. In this app as well, you can look it up for yourself. In this app, you can actually see where AEDs are located for public access, even private ones. So if there's a church or something that may be closed off to the public primarily, but when it's open, you know where it is. It shows a picture of that AED where it's located inside in that place and tells you where it's at. Great way of saving lives. Now, I don't want to go too long, but the most important thing I want you to grasp out of this short video is that your life matters, our lives matter, and CPR matters. If you are interested, if you know someone who may need this information, who may need assistance with learning CPR, I am available to assist you with that. I've been trained as a CPR instructor and actually train other people on how to become instructors for American Heart Association. Your life matters. I do this work because I love people. And I love people through acceptance, service, and kindness. Once again, my name is Dupree Foster, and I love you. You have unique gifts, skills, talents, and abilities that this world truly needs. CPR can be a skill that you can learn. Take care.